Most people in America, most of your employees, are not going to go to church. The only way that they're going to hear about the Lord is if they hear about it in a workplace. There are very vibrant companies within FCCI, C12, Convene, other Christian CEO organizations around the country where thousands of people are coming to Christ every year because of obedient Christian business owners that it could be as simple as having a chaplain on staff. And we're going to see those people in heaven when we get there. That's the good news. The bad news is that the vast majority of the business owners, and just look around, everybody's got gray hair like I do, right? They're all, virtually all of them, baby boomers that have to sell their business. They either have in the last 10 years or they've got to get out in the next 20 demographically because of the baby boom. And way too many of them are getting picked off one by one by secular private equity groups. America is being private equitized, and it's not good. And it's not good spiritually. If we don't do something about this, which is what really drives Tom and I and our investors and to step into the gap and help solve this, current course and speed, we don't save the best and brightest Christian companies in the next 20 years, America looks, because the younger generation is not going to church. The younger generation, I don't see them backfilling with the kind of businesses that you guys run. Some, but not like it was 30, 40 years ago. America looks dramatically different for our grandkids and our great-grandkids 20 years from now. And so this is not a applies to every single company like I began the conversation with, and I understand why most companies Christian companies have chosen to sell to private equity groups in the past, because sometimes you have to get a certain amount of cash, like in Tom's situation. You know, you can't be a saint. Not everybody can afford to be a saint like John and Glenn were. Some people have to get a certain amount of cash. And so, thank the Lord, we have accumulated Christian investors and have further conversations with more of them that see this problem, want to earn the same return that they can return putting money into secular private equity funds as an investment, by the way. Same return, but doing it in this nuanced, unique way, trying to solve a different problem than what secular private equity groups are trying to solve. So we'll just leave you with that encouragement, is how I would put it, so that if a private equity group is approaching you, just come to us, let us show you what you can do on your own with our help to perpetuate the independence and the kingdom impact of that business, and then pray about go get the other bids even, but get educated and get a proposal on what this alternative is now that there's parity in liquidity, and then pray about it. That's our only request.
And they're going to hold it until such time as the ESOP buys out that other 10%.
Now, most Christian sellers will gift part of the stock before the transaction to like a donor advised fund. Pick the Christian foundation that you donate it to. You get a personal tax deduction for the value of the stock that you're donating, and then one of two things happens. We do the transaction. Let's say you gifted 10%. Now you have 90%. Your donor advised fund has 10%. both shareholders sell to the ESOP in the transaction, that's how you're getting that 10% illiquid stock sold in liquidity up to the donor advised fund to go fund ministry. Or same exact thing, gift it 90%, 10%, I'm just making numbers up. That 10% shareholder, the donor advised fund, does not sell. It hangs out as a shareholder. So now you have an S corp with two shareholders, an employee trust that doesn't pay taxes, and a 10% shareholder in the form of a donor advised fund that doesn't pay taxes. And by law, we know S corp shareholders have to get distributions every year, right? Profits. So now you've got a conduit, a 10% corporate tithe, if you will, conduit out of cash flow to the kingdom for as long as you want. A lot of people do. You don't have to, but a lot of people will do that. And that's money that was being flushed to the IRS. Remember, the